chance for the development of leadership, basic skills, endurance, and exciting participation. Now, it goes without saying that a scrimmage such as this certainly involves the use of every available body muscle. The participants in this scrimmage and the entire film are all amateur athletes who receive payment for his part in this presentation. The participation of these athletes has been sanctioned by the Southern Pacific Association of the Amateur Athletic Union of the United States. Now, these players had to master the game fundamentals, beginning with the basic strokes. Skills these players perfected in order to become proficient in this game. Because of the difference in swimming techniques used in competitive swimming from that used in competitive water polo, it's very important to master the crawl stroke, because the crawl stroke is used during most of the game. And since the player must be aware of what is going on, he swims with his head high. The arm stroke is also modified to meet the requirements of the game. The elbows are bent and kept higher, and the length of the recovery is shortened. This type of stroke also improves the ability to control the ball more easily during the dribble. Because of the raised head and the elbow positioning, the legs tend to sink deep. Now, the swimmer compensates for sinking legs by kicking with his knee bent slightly more in order to bring his feet to... Remember, a water polo team travels on its legs. The overarm side stroke provides a connecting link in the player's ability to change directions and is the basis for fast starting and turning during play. Now, the stroke is not the same as that used expressly for life-saving. A form of bracket kicking is used in practicing the scissor kick. However, one hand is low, which helps support the body on the surface. The kick should be continuous and vigorous at all times. Concentrate on squeezing the legs together and feeling the thrust or surge. We combine this kick and the arm pull for quick starts. The breaststroke fills the needs of the goalkeeper to a large extent. It's also used by most players while rising high to catch a pass, throw a pass, or throwing for a goal attempt. The frog kick, like the scissor kick, must also be mastered, since it's necessary for gathering and rising by the goalkeeper and for gathering and rising by the tank players. Remember, you goalkeeper candidates, this kick is a must. Practice with or without a kickboard. A quarter of a mile a day is barely adequate. The backstroke is used when a player who is moving at a great speed rolls over from the crawl stroke for a clearer view of the game situation. Now, the player may in this position call for the ball, attempt a goal throw, or roll back to the front and continue his break. As in the crawl stroke, the head is held high for the best view of the play. The back flutter kick is better accomplished across the pool rather than by bracket kicking. Now, either hand may be held up high as if supporting a ball. The butterfly breaststroke has little to do with the actual play usage, but it's important in the development of muscular strength. The egg beater kick is used a great deal by one of the team's key players, the goalkeeper. Now, this kick is part of the frog kick as far as timing is concerned. Each leg kick looks like one of the blades of an egg beater or a half a frog kick. The goalkeeper often uses this kick after rising and rebounding the initial goal throw, and he may not have time to get set and gather for another rise. All tank players should walk almost vertically in the water, at least 200 yards a day using this kick, and potential goalkeepers should triple this distance. Many times in a game, while resting or in slow motion, the player has to spring into rapid motion and fast swimming. Now, this start is usually from the side to the stomach. The arm beneath the surface pulls as the arm out of the water strokes out and down. The head is out of the water. The simultaneous pulling movement and the vigorous scissor two-flutter kick will both condition the player and prepare him for effective starting. Now, this type of starting action using the combination of the two types of kick should be practiced as well as bracketing. Water calisthenics provide an opportunity to improve both body agility and physical strength. Now, all the players start and spring in the direction that flag indicates when they hear the whistle. Not all water polo players use the prescribed leg kicks. This clapping hands drill places a heavy load on the legs for support. Now, normally a frog kick or an egg beater kick would support the body best while this is being done. But it's obvious that even in similar situations, all of the players are not going to rely on exactly the same type of kick. Wrestling like this toughens the legs and develops overall strength against being ducked during a tackle. Now, the player who allows himself to be sunk easily will come up to find himself out of the play. Wind sprints performed following a workout will assure practice of the fundamentals demonstrated earlier: sprinting, holding the head high, turning, starting, and checking the flag at the whistle. Remember, the flag color denotes the direction of the break. One of the fastest methods of moving the ball and setting up an offensive maneuver is that of dribbling the ball. The correct swimming position is a must if the player is to maintain positive control of the ball during the dribble. Now, this straightaway dribble can best be used when approaching the goal for a goal throw. Palming or stop-and-go dribbling is another way to dribble. The short, quick movements used when dribbling also provide important evasive moves to be used while being chased by an opponent. The opponent is usually worn down by this type of dribbling since he has to stop and start late. Picking the ball up from underneath is usually the best way for the beginner. Widespread fingers and a relaxed wrist mean a sure pickup. A certain amount of deception is involved with this method because the opponent doesn't see the pickup until the ball is in the air. Now, the legs and the free arm are all important in pickup methods because they provide balance and assistance in getting the body up and out of the water. This in turn frees that throwing arm and shoulder. Now, the hand position remains much the same when picking the ball up from the top. Fingers are wide apart, the wrist and elbow are relaxed, and the ball is controlled near the head. Now, there's no basic change while doing this fundamental in the water. The hand position, outward rotation of the wrist, bent elbow remain the same. No daylight should be shown between the hand and the ball. Now, this type of pickup is done easiest when it's done quickly. The legs and the free arm are again all important in forcing the body out of the water and maintaining needed balance while the player treads water before the actual pickup. It's easy to see now what happens when a beginner leans too hard on the ball while incorrectly practicing this pickup. Quite easy to hold the ball down, but when he rotates his wrist, that ball pops up and away from our beginner. When they hear the whistle, both boys pick up the ball and throw it toward the goal. Now, it's interesting to compare the speed of these two methods and the throws that result. The pickup from beneath offers a chance for more deception because the hand is not placed on the ball where it can be seen. Now, the first method of spinning the ball is that of striking the ball to force it in the desired direction. The contact is made by the thumb side of the wrist and hand against the lower side of the ball and the water. Another more advanced method of spinning the ball is called palming or stop and go. In either method, the hips are kept high by a combination of kicking motions, mostly with the scissor kick and the pull of the free arm. Now, it's quite easy to see how a player can use the spin to good advantage when making a pass or a goal throw. Instead of striking the ball, the hand slips beneath it, making a quick pickup, and then throws. Now, the same fundamental holds true when a player is being pursued. The summation of forces. Well, that's the ability to gather up the forces of the body and to deliver an object at the precise moment for greatest effect. As I said, it's called summation of forces and is seen in basketball lay-in shots, jump passes in football, and the throwing attempt in water polo. The throwing arm must be forced up and made free of any drag created by the water. Remember, force down with a free arm, use a strong flutter kick, control the ball near the head, keep the elbow bent and the wrist relaxed, and deliver that ball at the peak of the rise from the water. You use these same fundamentals while swimming and throwing. When a swimmer's on his back, that throwing summation of forces is directed backward on the water by leg drive and with a backward pull motion with the free arm. The water supports the ball. This presents an object ready to be thrown with very little lifting. Now, the open palm is placed on the lower side of the ball with the elbow and wrist bent. The ball is thrown with a quick snap of the wrist and elbow, aided by the thrust of the gathered leg kick and the turning of the body. The throw differs from the usual pick-up and throw from beneath because the ball doesn't have to be lifted to the usual throwing position. Water polo holds little glamour for the beginner, who spends hours and hours catching and passing these short lob passes. Catching ideal passes with one hand presents enough of a hurdle for some time. Soon, however, the player is using either hand and moving forward and backward and from side to side with few misses. This same catching and spinning while practicing with a teammate soon leads up to the catching, the spinning, and the goal throwing. The same basic moves as used in throwing on the back are used in catching on the back. The player will propel himself mostly with his legs, but will benefit somewhat from the free arm. Now, the player must keep his eye on the ball and be able to change position on his back in case that throw is slightly long or to one side. A relaxed hand, relaxed wrist, and elbows are a must, since the hand meets the ball forward and gives to the throwing position. A review of the fundamental drill shows the following. Here you see the players passing circles with a man in the center. The next form of the drill shows them passing the ball without a man in the center. Later on, 2 or 3 balls may be used. Here the player chases the ball and returns it to his teammate's hand. Next, he dribbles toward the partner who swims on his back and yells for the ball. A more advanced drill of breaking and looking for the ball after calling for it. Now, in the early stages of this drill, the players can roll over on their backs and catch the ball. Then they roll over on their stomachs and dribble before passing back. Since the goalkeeper is the only player allowed to catch the ball with 2 hands, he's going to benefit from this type of catching drill, which improves body balance and the conditioning of the legs. This is also true when carrying the ball or holding a diving brick over the head. One of the first prerequisites for the goalkeeper candidate is that of learning proper positioning in reference to the goal he is protecting and to the position of his body in the water. Once his body is in the proper position, he must study the approach of the potential scorer and keep his eyes on the ball. He must constantly shift his position to meet the new angle of approach of the man with the ball, and he should make glances so as to check his position in the goal. At a bad angle, he can crowd the near goal post and at the same time be prepared for the possibility of a lob or a soft throw over his head. At times, he's going to find himself caught in a vertical position. Now, this will occur when he's moving laterally across the goal or when he's stopping a second goal throw that has been rebounded. Easy outside stops should be practiced as well as the elbow stops, the head stops, and the two-handed stops. Here you see some head stops. Very important for a goalkeeper to make as many stops as possible with two hands, and that he catch every ball possible and put it back into play quickly. One of the easier goal throws is made from a stationary position. It's made by placing the hand low on the ball before coming around with the arm and body. From a swimming position, the player picks the ball up from on top or underneath, and by using his summation of forces, rises up and throws that ball towards the goal. The push, or the 1-2 push attempt, presents a difficult stop for the goalkeeper. The player who is dribbling in may at the last moment pick up the ball slightly with either hand from beneath and then push it into the goal with the other hand. Now, this initial pickup motion makes the goalkeeper play the ball, and he may not recover sufficiently to stop the next push. The end results of passing, dribbling, and throwing for a goal and making goal guard stops are shown as what's called a wet pass drill. This drill is simple, but it uses enough of our fundamentals to make it an integral part of our early training. The direction of the break, pass, and shot can be reversed or varied. By using the same basic formation and fundamentals, the dry pass drill provided practice for goal throwing while on the back. The player should yell one stroke before rolling on his back, thus allowing time for the dribbler to pick up the ball and make an accurate pass. More can be added to these drills, such as playing the ball until it's scored, if rebounded, or throwing the ball, and if it's caught by the goal guard, breaking immediately for a pass out from this same goal guard. Now, this drill covers several of our fundamentals presented earlier: dribbling, throwing from beneath, and goalkeeper stops. A drill of this nature is important not only because it involves the throwing at the goal exercise, but also throwing the ball with either hand while swimming. This must be done during the course of a game, either while passing or throwing for a goal. Now let's see the fundamentals put into practice in a game where fundamentals really count. Water polo is a game which demands skill and endurance, and this is in keeping with our current trend toward physical fitness. Remember, we're all the same size in deep water.